We all have our main ship, or maybe even several, to fill different roles. Everyone may have their favorite for cargo, combat, and more. While there are also ships which many don't use and barely remember their existence. So I tried to go through all of the ships available in Star Citizen and find the ones I have almost never seen or rarely seen players use in the verse. Some may have a bit more use few years back or so, but now they should be rather rare sight if a player is flying them in game. I am certain there are some players who have used or seen these ships more than the rest of us, because every preference is different. We have some ultra rare ships like the Saber Raven, Mustang Omega, and some rare variants of already known existing ships. Because those are the rarest of the rare, I am not focusing on them. This means I am picking from more easily accessible, less used ships. I am also excluding any of the snubs, ground vehicles, or ships without quantum drive, as they are a lot rarer to meet because they cannot travel vast distances. For the first and more obvious pick, I have chosen the Drake Herald. I have not seen this ship in a long while. It's basically a giant rocket which is attached to the cockpit, focused on data gathering. But since that role is not in the game, it has never had much use other than transport or combat to the lesser extent. It is still rather fast and the design is fairly simple. Be honest now, when was the last time any of you were ever thinking about this ship? I bet that was quite a while ago. Another ship which I think has truly flown under the radar has to be the Origin M50 Interceptor. This is a rather small and fast single-seater ship, dedicated for racing. I believe there is one of them in Lowville Spaceport. Or maybe that is a Mirai Razor, or a variant of it. That is also less noticed in the verse. Either way, they are not really seen out in the game, being also one of the smaller ships mainly focused for speed and racing. Perhaps there are players flying these nice little ships, but I guess they would mostly be found at or near racetracks, as I cannot imagine any good reason to have this as your everyday ship. But I truly do love the look of these small racers. Personally, I would have loved an Origin M50 Interceptor to have a military variant. Something like the Arrow or Gladius, fully for combat and having a special design just for that. There is also another less noticed ship from Origin. Perhaps there are even several, but I am referring to the 85X. This two-seater casual transport is unique in a way of single-person transport, but not really used that often. It has weapons, but it's more of a luxury two-seater. Then again, most if not all ships from Origin kinda are with the luxury twist. From my own personal experience, I have not seen it, I have used it, I have ragged on it, but there is always someone who enjoys it, or at least what it brings to the table. At the moment, I don't see much use for it, that's why perhaps it's not used, but someday when luxury transport is implemented, it might have a purpose. So when was the last time any of you noticed Car-12 flying about? I have seen some good plays with this ship a long while back, but for the longest time it has escaped my radar, my notice. It is a fully dedicated alien light fighter, but has remained rather unpopular because of its large size. It is probably the biggest light fighter and thus relatively easy to hit. Its strength used to be incredible maneuverability when compared to all the other ships, even other light fighters. Ever since mass demo changes, that position has become irrelevant because other light fighters like the Arrow can now turn roughly as good as it. Even before these changes, the ship wasn't rather popular, but it did have that unique maneuverability and high speed which allowed it to mess with other similar type ships. To be fair, alien ships are a bit less noticed and used by the player base. There are also several other less noticed ships in the verse like the Mirai Razors, the Misk Starfarer, or even Anvil Valkyrie. Probably even more, and I know there are so many of them that everyone's experience is different. But I think these are less talked about and noticed in the verse. I tried to keep this ship line specific, and that is why I didn't really list any ships which have several variants like the Aurora series or Mustang series. The focus was on more of these unique ships which don't have variants and aren't really seen. Because if there are several variants of a ship, you are more likely to meet at least one of them. I am sure there are other ships which people have experienced less. If you think there is something unique or very obvious I missed, be sure to let me know down below. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.